Welcome back to another video on the channel. The morning after the night before of one of the best tennis matches I've ever seen and probably likely to ever see. And at 35 and 34-year-old, the level of quality that Nadal and Djokovic brought to the court last night was just astonishing. The consistency, the heart, the fight. Some of the points were the greatest I've ever seen. The third set was probably the best set of tennis I've ever seen. And I think, before you go into the match and look at Djokovic's win, you've just sort of got to appreciate how good these two players are. Rafa absolutely fought for his life last night, and he's won this title 13 times. Still looking for that one more title to move past Roger Federer, so you could see last night how much it meant to him and how big of an opportunity that it was. But yeah, Novak Djokovic beats Rafael Nadal in 4 sets, and as I say, one of the greatest tennis matches I've ever seen. I just thought I would do a quick video this morning reacting to the match and where I think it was sort of won and lost. So Nadal came racing out the starting blocks, and I did think pre-match that if Djokovic was to win this match, he probably had to win the first set. To win 3 out of 4 sets against Nadal sounds like a pretty much impossible task at Roland Garros, but Djokovic pulled it off, and Nadal 5-0 up in a matter of minutes, and from that point on you thought Djokovic is in for a long, long night. Nadal's level in those opening 5 games was just off the charts. A super fast start, almost wrapped the set up straight away, got an early set on the board, and it was just, as I say, an incredible level from Rafa. The forehand was flying from an early stage, the backhand looked solid, he was serving well, and Djokovic didn't really have any answers. So I didn't think Djokovic played a particularly bad opening 5 games, especially in the early stages. But Rafa just took control, and from that point on, it did look like Djokovic had a long way back. But I think what will perhaps go underrated is those 3 games that Djokovic got on the board in that first set. He settled into the match, allowed him time to get his rhythm, the clean ball striking going, and he just said to Rafa that I'm not going to go down without a fight this time. He lost 6-love last year in the first set, but this time Djokovic, he got into the match in the open set, and I think that was massively important. If he'd got beaten the open set 6-love or 6-1, then went down early break in the second, it would have been such a long way back for Djokovic, and Rafa would have been, well on the way to victory. But Djokovic produced some fantastic tennis in that first set, and it was positive signs. I thought it was massively important that he got those 3 games on the board, just to get into a rhythm, get settled into the match, make it competitive, and let Rafa know that he wasn't going down without a fight, as I say. At the start of set 2, I thought Djokovic played some very, very strong tennis. He got an early break, the momentum sort of switched. You could see that we were in for a long, long match, and Djokovic was playing somewhere near his best, and he was always going to make the match competitive. Djokovic's return of serve was just ridiculous all night, and I've seen many people say that Rafa had a bad serving day, and I think it's easy to say that without talking about how good Djokovic's return was and the pressure that sort of puts on Rafa to serve well, because there was some serve last night from Rafa out wide, especially to the Djokovic sliding backhand, that would have probably been an ace against every other player in the world. But Djokovic's ability to anticipate the serve, read the serve, and then redirect it literally onto Nadal's toes was just insane all night. It brought about lots of breaks of serve. I think Rafa had 7 double faults, which is very rare for him, but that all comes from having hit the perfect serve against the best return of serve of all time. So yeah, he got the early break in the second set, switched momentum, won the second set, and from then it was really game on. I thought Djokovic from 5-love in the first was playing the better tennis, and Djokovic is a player that doesn't relent. He can go 4 or 5 hours. He's been there at the big moments. He realises the task in front of him. He realises he has to play his best tennis in the biggest moments. He has to dominate the big points. And the task ahead for Djokovic from set 3 onwards didn't daunt him. He's a player, as I say, he's won 18 Grand Slam titles. He's been there and done it. He's beaten Rafa at the French before. He's beaten Rafa on clay before, and he fully believed in himself. Djokovic believed last night he could win that match, and I think you could see that from an early stage in it. I think the third set of that match last night was probably the greatest set of tennis I've ever seen. There was crazy points. each led. They both had set points, and just some of the winners on show, and some of the points were just outrageous at times. It's almost as if they're playing a different sport to every other player. The court coverage, the speed, the defence, the power, the winners, catching the lines consistently was just, as I say, on a different level. It was ridiculous to commentate on. I was commentating on the match last night, and at times the points and the level of play just left me speechless. You get to a point where you don't have words to describe how good the tennis is anymore. It was that good. Djokovic was in control of that third set for a long, long way. I think he led 5-2 or 5-3, but at 5-3, I thought, this is going to be a tough service hold. Rafa's not going to go away. He's going to come out fighting. He's going to get the crowd behind him. He's going to hit the forehand winner. Djokovic's 30 love had an easy forehand for his standards and netted. And straight away from that point on, I thought, that could be Djokovic's chance gone. You're not going to get many chances to beat Rafael Nadal at the French Open. And when Rafa broke back and held for 5-5, might even been 6-5 up Rafa was, and you just think, is that Djokovic's chance gone? He's had 30 love on his serve to go 2-1 up against Nadal at Roland Garros. He's missed an easy put away. Nadal's broke back. He's got the momentum. He's got the crowd behind him. The forehand's firing again. And Rafa, with the energy, with the crowd, with the will to win that he's got, and the fight in the heart, then it's always difficult to sort of turn that match around again. I thought Djokovic last night, under pressure, served exceptionally well. He was brave, he was aggressive. Whereas Nadal, I thought he was a little bit tentative. At 6-5, he had a set point on Djokovic's serve. He got the second serve back into play, and Rafa had a couple of opportunities to rip the backhand down the line. He came inside the court, and I thought, at set point, after being 5-3 down, can you just take a risk? Can you take a gamble? Rip a backhand cross court or down the line. He just seemed to be waiting for Djokovic's error, and Djokovic played an insane drop shot. To produce that level, the bravery, the courage, the execution was just unbelievable. At set point down after leading 5-3 against Rafael Nadal, the French, to force a tie break. And the tie break was, I thought pretty much dominated by Djokovic. I thought he was a player looking to make it happen, looking to win the match at that point. Djokovic was getting on the front foot inside the baseline, teeing off on both forehand and backhand, painting the lines. Whereas I thought Rafa was a little bit passive in the tie break, sort of waiting for errors. The backhand let him down throughout the match, which is a rarity. Nadal's backhand, I thought, was the difference between him winning and losing that one. It broke down a lot during the match, as I say, which is very unlike Rafael Nadal. It's usually probably his most solid shot, especially in rallies. And I did say in my preview video that was the was the shot that would probably decide the match. Rafa's defensive backhand, and it just wasn't quite there from last night. But I think, again, that comes down to the quality of the ball striking and the consistency of Djokovic, particularly the depth and the accuracy of his ground strokes. I thought in the fourth set as well, Rafa was trying to shorten the points. I don't know whether he was struggling physically. I know he hobbled off really with the ankle injury. I don't know how much of a problem that was, but that wasn't sort of Rafa's style. Rafa's style isn't to shorten the points at Roland Garros. He constructs and executes so well, particularly in the long baseline exchanges. But I think he was almost put off and realised he was being outclassed by Djokovic in those long exchanges. So Rafa tried something else, which didn't quite come off for him, but 5-4 in the tie break. Djokovic hits an ace, incredible serve down the tee, and then holds again for a 7-4. And at that point, I thought it was a long way back for Nadal, because I thought he was struggling physically in the third. I didn't expect Djokovic to lose 2 sets in a row from then. And then Rafa, as he always does, he came fighting back. He produced a flying forehand winner to break straight away in the fourth. And as I said, when Rafa gets that energy, he gets that momentum at the French Open in particular, then it's tough to turn the match around. And I did think we were heading for a fifth set when he won a couple of massive points at the start of the fourth to get a 2-love lead. But again, Nadal's serve and his backhand let him down. He made far too many unforced errors in that fourth set. He allowed Djokovic back in for a 3-2 lead, and I thought I saw the writing was on the wall from that point on. I thought Nadal was really struggling physically at that point. He was really trying to shorten the point, going for the backhands down the line that never really come off. He was under hitting the ball a lot, and it was just the quality of Djokovic all round. Djokovic was serving fantastically well. The return of serve was absolutely piling the pressure on Nadal at every point. He couldn't get a free point on serve. Djokovic's backhand was just, painting the lines. Consistent depth. His forehand was aggressive all night. Cross court in particular, I thought was outstanding. He barely missed a cross court forehand, and Djokovic, that's been his sort of downfall, I think, in this tournament so far. If you have to say negative about Djokovic, I think it is his forehand. This tournament so far, but last night it really turned up. Last night he was formidable on his forehand. Barely missed the ball all night, and it was just a special performance under pressure. The aggression, the execution was on point, and when he got the break for 4-2 in the fourth, sorry, I did think Rafa had run out of steam at that point, and it was, the match was gone, and Djokovic served it out for 6-2 in the fourth, and it was just like I say, one of the most incredible matches I've ever seen, and one of the best performances you're probably ever going to see from Novak Djokovic. I think Rafa will be disappointed with his performance. After leading 5-0 in the first, producing that level of tennis, he was in control of the match, but the errors have started to flow, and I don't think ever Rafa really grabbed the match back. I don't think he ever really looked like winning the match after that opening set. I always felt Djokovic was in control. He was always the one inside the baseline, looking to hit winners, looking to dominate, kept Rafa on the run, kept Rafa on the defence all night, and yes, Rafa did produce some outrageous tennis at times, of course he did. Some of the forehand winners that he produced were special. But I always feel like Nadal's backhand has to be there all night, and it just wasn't. It's usually rock solid, particularly on the defensive side. It keeps him neutral in rallies, it keeps him off balance, unbalanced, and Djokovic off balance. But he just wasn't able to live with Djokovic's ground strokes last night. And as I say, Nadal switched up tactics, trying to shorten the points, and he just didn't quite execute. But as I say, for Rafa, a lot of people think, that's will he win another Grand Slam? I wouldn't write him off that early. He's won Wimbledon before. I'm sure he'll be looking to avenge that defeat at Wimbledon. He'll go back to the French next year, absolutely full of hell, looking to regain his title. Rafa, when he looks down and out, he's done it many, many times before in his career. He's an incredible fighter. He's got an unbelievable heart, spirit, and that rivalry is probably the best ever in the history of sport. To play each other 58 times. I think the head-to-heads now, 30, 28 or something ridiculous like that. So Rafa will come back. Rafa's, like I say, he's an unbelievable champion. He knows he needs one more to get past Federer, so I'm sure he's not going to give up until he gets there. But he got outplayed last night. Djokovic fully deserved the victory, and that was one of the best performances I've ever seen from Novak Djokovic. And in particular, I think it was the clutch points where he hasn't produced his best against Rafa before at the French Open. We knew it was 7-1 coming into the match, and I always felt Djokovic has been competitive against Nadal at the French, but the big moments have always been bossed by Djokovic. But last night they weren't. I thought Nadal was just a little bit passive, and he broke down at key times, whereas Djokovic just served so well under pressure. He took his time, he returned fantastically well, he put the pressure on Rafa, asked him to go big, and it just wasn't quite happening for Nadal. But it was a truly special performance from Djokovic, and probably one of the greatest wins of his career. He's got a huge final obviously coming up on Sunday against Stefanos Tsitsipas, but that's the biggest confidence booster you could get for French Open, and not just the French, but for the year going ahead. I mean, Djokovic has a realistic chance of holding all four Grand Slams by the end of the year. Goes into Wimbledon as a huge favourite, and then he's going to the US as a favourite. He hasn't always produced his best at the US Open, but Djokovic, the schedule is obviously reduced this year. He's looking to peak at the Grand Slams, and a fully fit flying Djokovic in full form is definitely a favourite at the US Open. So yeah, I just thought I would do a quick video reflecting on the match, and it was just the reason why you watch tennis and why it is the greatest sport. It was for matches like that, and last night lived up to its billing. You know, it's just, as I say, tennis from another stratosphere and tennis from the gods at times, as if they were playing a different sport, and it was just incredible viewing and a truly special win for Djokovic. And I will be bringing out a full video probably to preview the final. I'll talk a little bit about Tsitsipas and my predictions for the final, how I think it'll go, but just wanting to do a video on Nadal and Djokovic. So thank you for watching. If you do have any comments for the match, if you did watch it, please leave them in the comment section below. Please like and subscribe, and I will see you on the next video.